Hello and welcome everybody to the show. This is the second part to a two-part episode, but I'm going to give you a quick recap. So if you weren't here last week, I will fill you in on what's happening and where we're at. Okay, so don't go anywhere. you can always go back and watch part one if you want first. I will forgive you, but I am going to give you a recap. First of all, how is everybody doing today? I see a few friendly faces in the chat. Parson 1122, WNN Welsh News Network. Erica's here. Christo, good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Xena, of course, is here. And as you guys know, if you decide that I'm doing a good enough job to support the show and you do a super chat while we're live, Xena and Ava's here too. Ava, get in your spot so they can see you. Go get in your spot. Xena and Ava do get a milk bone live on air. And actually, they're not even milk bones anymore. I have these diet treats because, you know, my dogs are fat. We don't want to give them the diabetes. Anyway, so yeah, they're here too. We'll keep them down in the corner. So we're talking about Susan Monica for the second week in a row. I had to split it up into two parts because the amount of time that she spoke to the police is insane. It was like an all day thing. And then she came back again the next day and talked some more. So Susan Monica, she's this woman. Let me get to the top of my notes. I do this all the time. I leave off the notes where I got done typing and don't scroll back up to the top. So she was born Stephen Buchanan in July of 1948 in San Francisco, California. She had a couple of siblings, one of which was given up for adoption. Susan transitioned from male to female after she served in the Navy in the Vietnam War. In 1991, she bought 20 acres of land in Wimer, Oregon, living the dream out there. She was living for a while with no electricity. She just had a barn out there. And she did end up getting solar panels eventually. So she did have running water and electricity at the time of the crimes that we're talking about. So this is who we're talking about. And let's get down. I just want to do that quick recap. So she would have handymen come and hang out on her property and help her build this house that apparently at the time she was arrested was 9% complete. They had only poured the basement. So that's where they were at with the house. But she would have people come to help her and would live on the property. I see a couple of things happening in the chat, so we'll pause there and then we'll get to the rest of the episode. So first of all, thank you so much, Erica. She's been here a year. Can you believe that? A whole year. She's just here for Xena. She tells me all the time. She's not here for me. She's here for Xena. Here, Xena. Oh, I forgot to do this. Let me click that button. There they are. That's for you. And this one's for you. Ava and Xena, thank you very much. And 2 British pounds. I'm not sure what that equals out into American money, but I think it's about the same. I think it actually might be more. I'm not sure how it works. I haven't been to Great Britain since it was right before 9/11 that I was in Great Britain. So that's the last time I've been in Europe. I appreciate it very much. They appreciate it. Everybody appreciates it. Thanks for supporting the show. It makes me want to keep doing what I'm doing over here. All right. So she goes into, we watched a lot of the police interview last week, and they didn't even realize that there was another guy missing. So she just pops up and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, if you're searching for bones on my property, officers, you're going to find another dude." That's where we stopped at last week. I'm going to do a couple of news stories first, and then we'll jump right back into that police interview. So here's something after she got arrested. You guys are going to love this.
Some people in Rogue River say they saw signs that there were problems at Susan Monica's property long before a double murder investigation began.
Community members say it's all taking a toll on the people of Rogue River. Newswatch 12 Stephen Sandberg joins us now live from the Medford newsroom to explain some of the red flags people saw near Monica's property in Wimer.
Well, investigators have been out at Susan Monica's home for nearly 2 weeks, but have not revealed much about their investigation for about the past week. Neighbors say the rumor mill has been swirling that entire time, and it has them rethinking their own encounters with Monica. Susan Monica surprised everyone this week in court when she asked that her pigs be butchered and donated to the Rogue River Community Center.
Yes, you heard that correctly. She wanted her pigs butchered and given out to homeless people. Is that insane or what? Like, just imagine, you're just living your life on the mean streets of Rogue River in Wimer, Oregon. And you're hungry, so you're like, I'm going to go to the shelter because they're passing out free meals. And then you find out it's pork chops from Susan Monica's pigs. Just imagine that. I was telling Mr. Zed right before we went live, there's a reason we, like, usually probably once a week, once every other week or so, we have pork chops for dinner. It's just part of our rotation, you know. We haven't had pork chops for like a month since I started researching this. And I told him he's got to give me at least a week. And those aren't even pigs that ate people. She's talking about donating pigs to the soup kitchen, like the actual pigs that ate people. Is it just me, or is anybody else creeped out by that? Mr. Zed said it wouldn't bother him because it's digested, and he's very logical. He's right. You're not eating the people. He's absolutely correct. But in my brain, just can't get past it. I can't get past it.
But some people in Wimer say she's never been one to care for her animals.
Yeah, I knew all along that she had neglected her animals. Words can't even give it justice.
Melody Badley kept her cows in a nearby field on West Evans Creek Road and said she had to confront Monica about the condition of her animals.
The most neglected herd of sheep that she had there, and it was really bothersome to the point where I started feeding them myself.
Now with Monica facing 2 murder charges and investigators still swarming the property, Badley says it takes a toll on neighbors.
What we think was safe may have not been. The scenarios that go through our minds become almost unreal.
It's the talk of the town, yes. Everywhere you go, people are talking about it.
At the Rogue River Community Center, workers have been dealing with being mentioned by Monica in court. They won't accept the pig meat because it won't be USDA butchered, but most of all, they just don't want to be pulled into that mess.
People with questions and are we going to take the pig meat? Well, no.
They said Monica's arrest is something everyone in town.
Good choice, lady. Very good choice. She's like, we don't want it. Please don't send us 14 pigs worth of meat. Thank you.
Talks about, but they wish it wasn't that way.
Because it's negative for our community. You know, we've worked hard to make this a nice community, and that's a big negative.
The sheriff's office was still blocking the private roads that both lead toward Monica's home on West Evans Creek Road. The sheriff's office would not comment on their investigation or what they're looking for. Live in the newsroom, Stephen Sandberg, Newswatch 12.
Thanks for that report. And here's, one more little news story before we dive face first back into this police interrogation. I want to give some people time to get here who, were with us last week and, want to see the rest of this thing.
With a man who previously lived with Monica. That man says he once heard Monica arguing and then firing.
This is the one. This is the gentleman that she talked about. We listened to her talk about last week how this gentleman, I forget his Pina, I think his name is, the Asian man that lived with her, and she's like, oh, he lived with me for a long time, he's perfectly fine. And they're like, yeah, but what about the guys who aren't fine? They found, the news people found this guy and interviewed him.
Gun. It's tonight's top story at 6.
I don't have room. I don't have family over here. She said, yeah, move from my property.
Patipon Pana says he took up Susan Monica on her offer, paying the Rogue River woman accused of 2 murders rent for nearly 4 years. Pana says he was the only long-term guest on the property during his time there.
Someday I saw people come, new people come 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
But Pana says he never knew the names of the people working on the suspect's property or the identity of a man he overheard Monica arguing with about money in 2012.
She shotgun, boom, boom. Go out my property right now. I don't see who is it. I don't know. I listen. I sit inside my room. I say, oh my goodness, scare me.
Pana says he saw that man drive away, and though he never found out what happened to 5 sheep he gifted Monica, he believes they suffered the same fate as 2 others.
She killed a sheep. Boom. Give to pig eat.
According to Pana, Monica accused his cat of eating her chicks.
At night time, too many animals come. Hey, she think my cat. She killed my cat.
Pana's pit bull and hound also fell victim to Monica and were then fed to her pigs according to their owner. He says though he's sure of what happened to his pets, he's not sure what led to the corpses found on Monica's property.
Okay, so that part really pissed me off. She killed this guy's cat and 2 dogs and fed the carcasses to her pigs, which would make me want to move out of a place. I don't know about you, but that would be the final straw for me. Like that just shows we see this time and time again in the killers that we cover on this channel, where they have no problem killing animals, pets, things like that. Usually it's when they're younger. This was a couple of years before she ended up killing people, but it's a sign. It's a sign. Now, if there's a reason to put down an animal, that's different. Like, when dogs or pets get old, you take them to the vet, you have them put down. If you live in a place where you can put them down yourself, you can do that. But that's not what happened here. She got mad at a dog and killed it and fed it to her pigs years before she killed any people.
It is, she killed people.
Were you ever nervous or scared of her?
No.
Covering your news in Merlin, Jessica De Nova, News 10.
Pana also says it was forced to open his own private mailbox because he discovered Monica was opening his mail. Tonight, detectives and search crews continue to work on Monica's property. Today, Jackson County Sheriff's detectives and Oregon State Police were seen going in and out of Monica's property on West Evans Creek Road. Here's a new picture of the woman accused of double murder and abuse of a corpse. A mugshot from a 2009 arrest. It's here right now. Jackson County Sheriff's Office says it will most likely be on the scene for several more days. Detectives will not confirm if detectives are looking for more bodies.
And that man, Pana, helped Monica build her home for years.
A home that would likely never be finished. That's according to Jackson County building inspectors. We continued your total coverage tonight of the investigation by showing you an inside look into Monica's property. These are pictures taken by building inspectors about 5 years ago of Susan Monica's property. Inspection records show she bought her farm back in 1991. Work started after that, building a 2-bedroom, 2-story home. Also on the property, this metal storage shed and a barn. Jackson County building inspectors say Monica had no heat, no kitchen, but a new basement was built in 2005. Records show building inspectors visited Monica's farm multiple times in the last 10 years. Written comments on inspection documents say the home Monica was working on was only 9% complete and was very unlikely it would ever be finished.
So here's what we know so far. Monica is behind bars for murder. Pana says she has previously seen her feeding animals to her pigs. When we asked a close friend about Monica's about where those pigs are tonight, they say the Jackson County Sheriff's Office is having someone take care of them on Monica's property. You can view our continuing coverage of the Monica murder investigation. Just go to our website at ktvl.com.
Okay, so let's get back into the police interrogation where we left off. If you recall correctly, she has already admitted to killing, I'm going to feel so bad if I can't find this guy's name very quickly, the first gentleman, Robert Haney. And where we left off last week, she is about to admit to also killing Stephen Delicino. She wasn't going to admit to killing another person, except the police officers in this interrogation do a good job of saying, hey, by the way, we're searching your property right now. We've already found a leg. And if we find anything else, we are going to do DNA tests to make sure it all belongs to the same person. And she's like, oops, I got something else to tell you. There was this other guy a couple years back, and that's where we are. Let's get into it.
Oh, God, give me another piece of paper. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, God, this doesn't make any sense. Right there, about 3 feet down, there's part of another body. Okay. His name.
I have it really fast. Let me switch that. You guys know I never listen to anything at normal speed when I'm on my own, and then I forget to switch it back for you guys. So let me I'm going to put it to 1.25 actually, because she talks very slow. I was listening to it at 1.75 and I was hearing everything. So that's how fast she was, or how slow she was talking.
Is Steve. Steve, I can't remember. It's there's Italian Steve. Okay. How old is he? I think he was a couple years older than me.
What's the structure you're talking about here?
Oh, this is the barn, and then this is the area. This is the fence. He's on the other side of the fence.
Right on the other side of the fence?
Right on the other side of the fence, about there.
Okay. What's the part of the bottom?
There was the skull and a couple other things I don't remember.
Okay.
We did get into a fight. He went in. I had several guns, one of which was a little bitty 5-shot revolver. Mm-hmm. In my room, I had a 30-06 with a scope on it. I shot it 3 times, I think, mm-hmm. up at a quarry, and it shot way off. Mm-hmm. And I never tried to shoot it. I never tried to line it up, whatever you call it. Steve was a thief. He stole a lot of things.
By the way, she goes into a lot of victim blaming in this one. It's really disheartening. It's very hurtful. But she does this. She did that with the other one too. It was his fault. He went into the pig pen and I was putting him out of his misery. That was her story with Robert Haney. With this one, it's his fault because he was a thief and he was a horrible person. I don't care how horrible of a person he is. You don't shoot him and feed him to your pigs, Monica.
From people. He lived about 5 miles up the road from me. He knew all the houses around, when people were there, when people weren't, and he was not a he did steal all the time, just for the hell of it. He was an alcoholic. He stole from the people that he was staying with, mm-hmm. and her name was, I can't think of that either. Anyway, she lives at the last driveway off the pavement. Okay. Last driveway off the pavement if you go up Pleasant Street. Mm-hmm. She lives up there. She caught him several times going through her purse. Mm. Her husband died several years ago, and he would buy him beer. Mm-hmm. She would not buy him any kind of beer at all. Mm-hmm. So he would go through her purse. He would go through the house. At one point, I remember him stealing some silver dollars, which were worth, $2 or $3, and he took them down to the store just to buy beer. She had a wood splitter that was worth, $500. He sold it to somebody for a couple of dollars to buy beer. He wasn't a thief trying to make a whole lot of money, anything like that. He just needed some beer.
What is with these guys and their beer?
I don't know. He would come over to my place. He was a very good worker. I'd buy him a half a case of beer. And it was regular beer. Brady drinks that high alcohol stuff, and he can just down one of those in a matter of me. If I buy him a beer at the Wimer market and drive into town, halfway to town it's gone, and he wants another one. Steve was not D'Angelo.
How old was he? Did you say? I'm sorry.
He was a few years older than me, I think.
Okay.
He never really stayed on my property. He was he was very meticulous. He was very gentlemanly. He'd open the door for me. He on a couple of occasions would just walk away because he was not doing what I expected of him. One time,
sorry, were you guys a couple then?
No.
Okay.
No, he would take his bicycle and he would ride the 5 miles or 4 miles, whatever it is. I guess anyway, he would ride and walk his bicycle from up there at Beverly's. Beverly was her first name. He would ride his bicycle down to the Wimer market to buy beer. He would take his bicycle and he would ride it over to my place and work. I would buy him a half a case of beer, and he would work. He would drink a little beer. He would work and drink a little beer, and he worked all day for half a case of beer. That's all he wanted.
Yeah.
It wasn't, give me $30 so I can buy beer.
Right.
It was just
Buy me beer.
buy me some beer, and he worked. He was a very good worker. He would not take criticism at all. I say this in my stupid sense of humor, that if I gave him a pair of scissors and said, go cut the lawn, he would do it. He was that type of person. I gave him a rake, and one of the reasons that my property looks as good as it does is because of him. Because he came down and spent hundreds of hours simply raking leaves. And he would be upset if he missed a leaf. He would be upset. He would load up the wheelbarrow 3 times what the wheelbarrow would hold.
Yeah.
And then he would go 20 feet and the wheelbarrow would fall over and he'd make a mess. And, he was upset at himself because he didn't do it right. Or whatever, however you want to put it like that.
Yeah.
I had asked him one day to help me move something in the barn. He would not allow me to help him. And he very nearly broke both legs. Very, very nearly broke both legs. Because he couldn't do it. And he fell. And this piece of steel fell on him. On one occasion, we were Menthorne, I think it is. We were, I think it's Menthorne, where that, well, he doesn't have the parts store but he has the tow service.
I know Menthorne.
Okay, I think that's.
Are you guys hearing all of these excuses she's having? He would try to load the wheelbarrow too full and it would tip over. Like all of these little things that are adding up to make her angrier and angrier. He stole from some neighbor's purse. He tipped over the wheelbarrow because he's an idiot and he would load it up too full. She's just naming all of these little tiny things that just stacked on top of each other, and this man ended up dead. Wait till you hear what she says happened. It's crazy, her story.
We were over there. I had my truck and the trailer, and we were getting hay at the yard right next to that. We had a couple rows of hay on the trailer, and I got on the tongue of the trailer and I wanted to put another row of hay on there. There was no problem with the trailer holding the weight. I wanted to put some more hay on there. I told him to hand me the bale, and I would put it up on top. He would not allow me to do it. That was his thing, because I was a woman. Okay, he did not want me to do that kind of thing, and he could not do it. He tried to get it up there, the next row, and he fell backwards with the bale of hay, and he walked from Menthorne all the way home. He would not let me help him in any way. He would not let me take him home. He got so upset at his own failure that he walked, miles. 10 miles, whatever. Yeah. He walked all the way home. Yeah. And now that was Steve. He just could not allow me to do any of the work.
Right. And you're capable.
And, yes, I'm capable.
You're self-sufficient.
I'm capable of most things. I've got very good upper body strength. And anyway, that's the way he was. I saw him on a couple occasions.
Thank you so much, Cool Clearwater, for the super chat. I'm doing these now, but once we get into what happened to this guy, we're gonna pause on the super chats and we'll do them after we're done, because it gets crazy. But we're still not at the crazy part yet, so we can still pause. Thank you so much, Cool Clearwater. I appreciate it. Ava appreciates it. Zena appreciates it. I appreciate it. Everybody does. Zena, you gonna sit up for this one? I don't think she is. Can you catch? No, she's not even gonna try. Here you go, Zena. Ava actually got up for it.
Plastered. Yeah. And he came down to my place, and I confronted him on the guns that were missing. Okay, and he did get physical with me. I did not think he would do that. Yeah. He got physical with me, and I told him that I was pretty sure it was him that stole my rifle. Yeah. And I had a 356 pistol. I had that, and I told him I was pretty sure it was him that did it, because he was the type of person that did not ransack a place. He was meticulously. He was a meticulous thief.
So things would disappear, kind of.
Things would disappear. I didn't think that he would take things from me. I knew that he was taking things from Beverly, D'Angelo. Anyway, I did not think that he would take things from me, but I did know he was a thief. Yeah. And the guns turned up missing, and it was not a mess. Somebody had gone in there, looked under my pillow, and had taken my pistol, and had gone around in the back of the shower and had taken my rifle. They didn't mess up anything. The only thing that made sense to me was that it might have been Steve. So I confronted him with that. He got all upset, and I had a little 22 pistol, and he knew right where it was, because he went ahead and grabbed it. And his philosophy was that when he was in the military, they taught him to kill people. And when he got out of the military, he did not seem it did not seem right to him that he should stop. He felt, killing. I don't. He felt killing people was okay. And he went ahead and reached for where I had still had the little pistol.
Right.
And
where was it?
It was on my bed.
Oh, okay.
We had gone in there, and I said, look, my one pistol was here, my rifle was over there. Nothing has been stolen.
Right.
If somebody comes in to steal things, they're going to steal the
Yeah.
rifle, they're going to
Sure.
steal the pistol, they're going to steal the television
All
set.
kinds of stuff.
Right, they're going to steal a bunch of stuff. The only thing that was missing was the guns. Okay? So I confronted him with that. He apparently knew where my little pistol still was because he reached over and grabbed it. We started to have a little tussle, nothing big to start with. And he says, well, you know, I'm not going back to jail for stealing your stuff or anybody else's stuff. He's he's the person that if you have a lineup, he's going to get picked every time for any, you know, for it doesn't matter what the crime is.
He just has the look.
I mean, most of the time I look scruffy. He's even scruffier. He's the person that 99% of the people will say he's the one that did it.
Right.
You know, unless it's a black guy or a woman, he's the one that's guilty.
Yeah.
The police have.
So just so you guys know, sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but you know, Susan Monica last week when we were watching her police interview was talking about eugenics and how to cure sickle cell anemia. Now she's saying that if there's not a black guy or a woman around, obviously this guy, Steven, is going to get blamed for stealing stuff. But if there's a black guy around, they'll blame him first. What is wrong with this lady? Well, I mean, we know what's wrong with her. I don't know why. That was rhetorical. We know what's wrong with her. She's actually a man, which is one thing. And not saying that there's things wrong with men. I'm just saying, as far as crime statistics go, men do commit more violent crimes. So she is a man, or has the same, you know, she was born a man. So she's more violent. That's all.
Numerous times because he looks guilty. You know, just for
Like the police around here?
He'd be down at the park or something, you know, and we don't know what you did, but you look guilty for something.
Oh, I see.
Okay? So, I try to cooperate with the police. I haven't been doing a very good job, I guess, but for obvious reasons. And he was the one that was always guilty.
Yeah.
So
you guys are wrestling?
So he grabbed a little pistol, and he said that, you know, he doesn't want to go back to jail, and he decided he was going to kill himself. So he shot himself in the head.
Right there in your home?
Right.
This is the crazy part. I said we were getting to the crazy part. This is it. They were wrestling around. He got the gun. He shot himself in the head. Now listen to the crazy part.
Right there, right there.
Where did he shoot himself in the head at?
Well, that was the whole stupid thing. He shot himself, and then he ran out. But I didn't know it at the time. I always thought, you know, it was a little bitty gun. It wouldn't kill you, but it would certainly hurt.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's 5 shots for crying out loud. So he went out of the room. He went around into that little hallway, and I'm following him.
Yeah.
That was when it got even worse. Okay, and he emptied the gun in his own head. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. But it's just a .22 with a little 1-inch barrel.
I don't believe it either, Susan. So you're telling me what she's saying is he shot himself in the head, walked out of the room that they were in, and then shot himself 5 more times in the head. Who shoots themselves in the head 6 times? This is her story. This is what she's sticking with. This is what she went to trial with, which we're going to get to the trial in a little bit. But he shot himself in the head 6 times in different places too. Like I have to assume she shot him and he tried to run away because he didn't die immediately. She didn't hit the off switch. And she chased him down and shot him 5 more times.
And it was just going boom, boom, and that
Where did he shoot himself at?
I mean, in the head. He was, you know, he was bleeding.
Well, I mean, did he, sometimes people point in different
No,
areas.
no,
where
no,
it
I
is.
was holding on to him, as best I could.
Yeah.
And he was going like this and shooting himself in the head, and where, I don't know.
Okay.
He was shooting himself in the head.
And then what happened?
And, after a fashion.
By the way, this is with a 22, which is the kind of bullets that assassins use because you only need one, by the way. So I'm not sure he was able to shoot himself in the head 6 times with a 22. I'm no ballistics expert, trust me. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do know that a lot of assassins use a 22 with a silencer on it or a suppressor, whatever you want to call it.
He managed to do it, and basically I did the same thing, which, like I say, it doesn't make any damn sense at all why 2 people would end up in my pig pen.
Yeah. So what happened with him in the pig pen?
I did leave him out there for quite a while,
Yeah.
until there was practically nothing left.
Like, how long's a while?
I left him there for a couple of weeks. There was basically practically nothing left. And
Can I back up just a little bit? So he shot himself in your place that we were at this morning when we came down there, and you
Yes.
left it. So then
not down there, in the barn. I was still,
in the barn. Okay.
This was a couple of years ago. This was a couple of years ago. I was still living in what's now Brady's room.
Okay.
And so.
So like 2011, 2010, 2009.
I don't know.
Okay.
It was at least a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And so I left him out there for a couple of weeks. And then
where at in the barn did he shoot himself?
It was,
because I know the barn.
It was inside, pretty much where. God.
Are you talking about the hallway that you took me and showed me his stuff down there in the ground, Robert's stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
In there.
Okay, that makes sense.
So he, just about the same place that I marked where the bones.
Okay, so Major Victory asks a good question. He says, so he wasn't gored to death by your pigs? No, he wasn't. I don't think either of them were, but her story for the first gentleman, which was Robert Haney, was that he was gored to death by the pigs. Like, he went into the pig pen and was gored to death. I believe that she killed him and fed him to the pigs, just like she did for Stephen here. But, we weren't there. We don't know. There was no cameras. There was no witnesses. So we do know that both men were eaten by the pigs. I believe they were both dead before they were eaten. But according to her, Robert Haney was alive when he was eaten by the pigs.
For Robert Word is where he shot himself.
Okay. And so did you take him out into the yard, obviously, then?
No.
I thought you said that you took him out.
No, the pigs drug him out later.
Okay. To about the same spot as where Robert was?
No.
Where?
Well, I don't know exactly, but no, he was up at this. He wasn't. Robert was over here, and Steve was down at this end.
Can you just mark with the pen about where Steve was? That would help me out to kind of get reference.
The one pig with her baby is there.
Right. And
these walls were not up at the time.
Okay.
I just put those up recently for her because I still have the other 3 in that pen.
Okay.
And I'm trying to sell those, and I haven't been able to sell them. So I put these up here, so she had a place by herself. These walls were not up. The back door here, that was open. Steve ended up in here, and they just dragged him out.
Okay. But he ended up staying outside, and that's where they ate him?
Yes. Well, they ate part of him in there, and then they dragged him out here, and I don't know.
So what parts are over here?
And there's a skull and a couple other things, not much.
What happened to his clothes and his belongings?
I did the same thing. This whole thing is so
Is it okay if I write
Totally bizarre.
right here where, is this where Steve shot himself?
Yes.
But this is where he emptied the rest of the gun out.
Yes. Yes.
So I'll just write here, Steve shot himself with rest of bullets.
Yes.
And then inside the other place where he shot himself once, inside your little room here?
Yes.
Okay, so he shoots himself once after he says, I'm not going to go to jail or prison or whatever for stealing stuff. He grabs the gun and then he shoots himself. And now this is where...
I wasn't planning on turning him in or anything.
Right.
He just got it in his mind that...
And then right here is where Steve's remains are right
yes.
now. And so this was a couple years ago.
This was a couple of years ago, and you guys actually came out. I went around, and I was picking up his bones. There was no meat on him any longer.
Yeah. How long do you think he stayed out here?
It was a couple of 3 weeks.
Okay. That's a long time. Did they...
There was not much left.
Okay.
I went ahead and there were a bunch of bones from pigs and sheep and goats that were laying all over the place. And I decided to get rid of everything. So I went ahead and I dug a hole over there.
Okay.
And my good old neighbors, I don't know what they were doing, but they saw me throwing bones in a hole, so they called you.
Oh.
And a couple people came out.
Like deputies?
Yeah.
Just the normal cops, the sheriff's office?
Yes. They came out and they said, somebody saw you throwing bones in a hole. And I said, right there. And I still had some other bones laying around. And the guy said, oh, well, that's a pig bone. And I said, yes.
Was it Steve, some of it?
No.
Okay.
No, it was a pig bone.
Okay. No, I'm talking about the other bones mixed in. Were there any bones of Steve's mixed into that?
Yes.
Right there that the cops were looking at?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And they didn't really look at the other bones. They looked at a couple of things, and they said, oh, that's a pig bone. So I guess one of the officers knew what a pig bone would look like.
Okay.
And I told him that I was just going around picking up all the bones laying around, and there's a great big skull out in the back pen right here, and I've thought about burying that. And he asked me some kind of question, and I said they were buried about 2 feet down. I asked him if he wanted a shovel, and he didn't want a shovel, and he left.
Okay. Now, just for clarification, is this where that pile of bones is, or is this where just the skull and a few things are?
No, there's a whole bunch of bones there.
So the skull will be mixed in. About how far deep is it, or how far down?
It's probably about 3 feet now, because I took a bunch of dirt and I leveled out the whole indentation there, and I filled in some more. And then I had Robert. There was a bunch of dead trees in here, and then several out here. I had Robert cut them up into firewood size pieces, and I had all the pigs were in this pen, and so he was over here helping me cut up this firewood, and that's all piled up. There's that little building, little metal building, and then right on the other side of that was a big, well, it's smaller now, but there was a big pile of wood, and he cut up a good portion of that, and yes, that's about it.
Whatever happened to the little gun?
I still have it.
Where's it at?
It's in my room, up in the house.
Can I just flip this over and you can do a little diagram of it?
It's in the back there where my bed is on the shelf.
Can you just do a little, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Right there on the shelf.
Okay. Where's the step? Oh, this is the door and the steps?
Yeah, the steps are over here.
Okay, here, I'll just make a mark here if it's okay. So steps to residence.
Yes.
And then it's by the bed. There we go. That looks better. So, Steve, now, does Steve have family around here, do you know?
No.
Where's he from?
I don't know. He's given me all kinds of stories that he's got property in Florida, and I don't believe any of it.
You don't remember his last name?
No.
And you think that he might have been around your age?
Yes, I think he was a couple years older than me.
Was he white?
Yes.
How tall do you think?
So about my size, a little bit less weight.
Okay. And you're just under 6 foot?
Yes.
Okay.
He was about the same height and weighed a little bit less.
How much do you think he weighed? Like, was he kind of slender? Was he like medium?
Medium.
And did he have any facial hair or anything at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was
What color was his hair?
mostly gray.
Okay. Did he have any kids or anything?
I don't know that if he did or not.
Anybody come around asking about him?
No.
How did you meet him?
He was one of those people that just showed up to work. And
well, now you say showed up. Was it like from a,
yeah.
help wanted?
Yes.
Ad?
And then
Where did you place that at?
Oh, it was at one of the stores.
Oh, okay.
So she keeps getting these guys to come to her property, and by posting these help wanted ads at the local grocery stores, and then she goes to the local soup kitchen where she wanted to donate the pig meat to, by the way, and recruits people because she knows people are hard up and they need work under the table, that sort of stuff, because they're on benefits and they don't want to lose their benefits, and they're like, hey, I'll give you a place to stay so you won't be sleeping on the street behind that dumpster anymore. So I'll give you a place to stay and I'll even pay you and feed you. And then she kills them. She did this twice in 2 years. And I think if she hadn't been caught by using Robert's Oregon Trail card, she would have done it again the next year. Like every 12 to 15 months, she's killing a dude.
I don't know which one he saw.
Okay.
And then I probably knew him more than anyone else.
Okay. Really? How long?
5 years.
Steve?
Yeah.
For 5 years?
Yeah, I probably knew him for at least 5 years.
Did he have a wallet with him or anything that you hadn't ended up having to put with the clothes, or?
I don't know exactly what he had.
Where's his bicycle at?
He didn't have it with him.
Oh, okay.
He had wanted me. He had wanted me to give him some money to leave. Beverly got frustrated with him, and he got frustrated with her.
Mm-hmm.
George, her husband.
What was his last name?
I can't think.
Tell me again where they live really quick, and then I'll.
It's the last driveway on the pavement.
The last driveway in the pavement on
Pleasant Creek.
Off Pleasant Creek.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's mile 14 or something.
Do you remember if it's the right or the left, or I mean,
it's on the left. There's nothing on the right.
Mile marker 14.
It's the last. It's.
I know it's difficult to talk to, but I just need some clarification on Steve, okay?
Yeah.
Steve, when he was in your room, and he, you said that he took a gun and he shot himself once.
Yes.
So did he say anything? Did he just stand there, or what happened exactly?
I mean, he grabbed the gun and I grabbed him, and he was stronger than me.
Yeah.
But he took his hand and shot himself.
And he said, I'm going to kill myself?
Yeah, he said, I'm killing myself, I'm not going back to jail.
Okay.
He shot himself the once, he ran out, I chased him, and he got over into the other room, and I grabbed him again, and with me holding his hand.
After he had already been shot the one time?
Yes, but it was just a little bit of blood. And, I thought, heck, you shoot somebody, you're going to, I like the mystery things, and you always hear the bad guys, they shoot you twice in the back of the head.
By the way, if you get shot and you're not bleeding a lot, if there's just a little bit of blood, that's an issue, because that means you're bleeding internally. It's not that there's no blood, or it's not that it's just a little scrape, although I guess sometimes you could get, skimmed by a bullet. But if it's just a little bit of blood, it means you're probably bleeding internally. Just a little pro tip for you. You got to get that checked out.
Well, I thought, you know, that you shoot somebody at point blank range with this little gun, you know, I thought he would have died right then.
Yeah.
And it just bounced off. And he got loose from me. He ran around, and he emptied the gun in his head.
Is that Steve?
I don't think so. I can't really see very well. I don't think that's him.
Well, let me see if I can see if there's a name on here. Sometimes I look up stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't look like him.
Okay. Did he have long hair like that?
It wasn't that long, and most everything was gray. And he had a full, pretty much full. No, he had pretty much a full beard.
Okay. Well, he doesn't have a beard there, but.
Well, like I said, I can't really see without my glasses.
Okay. All right.
I can see over there.
Well,
I can't see.
How about if I get you a big picture of him? Would that help out more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think that doesn't look like him.
Okay.
Who's that supposed to be?
That's a Steve that I just looked up on my phone.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, that doesn't look. I guess there's plenty of Steves.
I'm sure there are. So he
last name starts with a D.
Yeah. Okay.
Last name starts with a D.
A D. Okay.
Yes.
I'll put Steve D. Remember if he had a middle name or any nicknames?
No.
Okay. How long did he live out in Rogue River area here?
He stayed with Beverly for at least 5 years that I know of.
And then you mentioned that he stayed in a small trailer?
Yes, she had.
Where was that? Oh, that was
on her property.
The Airstream you talked about.
Yes, yeah. He had.
Okay.
Well, she and George had an Airstream trailer that he stayed in, and it was fairly neatly kept.
Mm-hmm.
He was very neat all the time, but no. He kept things neat all the time, but he was a lot more scruffy than I was. I am.
When Steve shot himself in the head, can you describe, like, from start to finish, the time that he shoots himself once, and then can you kind of describe the audio of that, of how it...
It was like half a minute.
Half a minute?
Yeah, I can see from
So I don't know if you guys know how long 30 seconds is, but he shot himself in the head. From the first shot to the 6th shot that he shot himself in the head was 30 seconds. That's a very long time in gunshot time. This is her story. She shot himself in the head, ran outside, and then shot himself in the head 5 more times. 30 seconds is a long time.
the back of that's not. No, that's not him.
I also like the teamwork that this police department is doing. Obviously, somebody was watching from outside the room, and they were trying to find a picture of Steve. Within a minute and a half, they're coming in with printed out large pictures of dudes named Steve, which is great. Great teamwork. I usually have a lot to say about the police investigations. This one, I haven't found anything that I could fault them on at all. I haven't found anything yet. Let me know in the chat if you guys found anything you can fault this police department on. So far, I have not. They're doing a great job.
Do you recognize that person?
Yeah, that's Beverly.
Beverly? Okay.
Yeah, that looks like Beverly.
Okay.
Thank you.
But that doesn't look like Steve to you. I mean, I know that he doesn't have a beard, but if he had a beard and his facial features, and especially the eyes were kind of...
No. Well, I mean, find out what the last name is. It starts with a D.
You would recognize the name?
Yes, I would recognize it. That doesn't look like him.
Okay. So the pop one time in the house, in your room.
Yeah.
And then about how long until
it was only a few, it was less than 30 seconds probably, 30 seconds, about that. You know,
and then how did the next succession of rounds fire off? Were they close together? Were they far apart?
Only a few seconds apart.
A few seconds apart?
Yes, I was...
So was it like pop, pop, pop?
Maybe
pop.
A little farther apart than that.
So he shoots himself once, and then it's pop, pop, pop.
Something like that.
Pop.
Yeah.
A little farther apart.
Yeah.
And then he did a total of how many shots?
5.
5 total? Oh, yeah. It was a 5-shot.
A little 5-shot revolver. You can put it in your palm of the hand.
You don't remember where it was, though?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
I don't remember where it was.
Okay. And then this was a couple of years ago.
This was a couple of years ago. And at that time, I went up and I talked to Beverly, and I told her pretty much what he was planning on doing beforehand.
You mean about going out of town?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he have a cell phone or anything?
No, he has nothing.
All right. So he, so you told her, did you tell her that because, or why did you tell her that his plans?
Well, that was his plan, so I just kind of went along with it.
Okay. I see. Did she ask you? Did she ever ask you, hey, have you seen Steve around?
No, I had gone up there, and I told her what happened.
Oh.
Well, I told her what
his plans.
I told her his plans.
How long after he died did you tell her about his plans?
Just a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of days later.
So, you know, him being out, outside and exposed where people could see, were you worried that anybody would come by and see him? You said that other people had been around at that time.
Not very often.
Right, but I mean, were you ever worried that somebody would maybe pop in and say hello and see him laying out there?
No.
But then again, the pigs probably, like you said, they don't know when to stop. You know, they're just animals.
Right.
You know, they're animals.
Yeah.
So they're going to do what they do.
But yeah, with in a couple of days there wasn't much left.
Yeah.
And
not recognizable.
Not recognizable.
Okay.
Unless you got in there and walked up and said, "Oh, that's a skull."
Right.
You know.
Okay.
But
Susan?
It's like I said, it's too stupid to be.
I want to do something right now.
I'm trying to.
I want to do something right now.
Okay.
I don't want us to get caught up and stop what's going on here because we're doing the right thing. So I want to move on to the next person, okay?
There's no other persons out there. It's Steve and Robert. That's it. And I still have no idea how he got out there.
So at this point, which I would be the same way, these detectives are convinced that it's more than just two people, which I would think the same thing. If, we found one leg, obviously, earlier in the day, and she just admitted to killing a second person, I think, okay, well, now we're going to have to go through a list of people. There's going to be a bunch of people on this property, and it's, they can find the body parts, they can do the DNA testing, all of that. But if they get, while she's opening up, if they get that out of her now, it'll be way easier to investigate, to identify these people at the time. Do you guys think there's more bodies out there? Let me know. Let me know if you think there's more. I'm not going to tell you.
I don't know how he got out there. I came down in the morning, and I saw the pigs not going over to be fed where they usually do, and I was curious. So I went in, and I saw them. They looked like they were eating, and I couldn't figure out what they might have been eating. So I went closer, and I saw a body, which horrified me. And I tried to get the pigs off of him. They would not move, which, I would, if I was having a nice meal, I wouldn't move either.
Was Steve dead when the pigs started eating him?
Oh yeah, definitely.
How can you be sure?
No, he was dead.
Well, he shot himself the 5 times, but I mean, what happened after he's shooting himself? What's happening?
Well, it finally went through his head.
Okay. And he just died there in the barn?
He died right there in the barn.
And
I just left him there, and I didn't know what the hell to do. And the pigs came in, and another picture.
Yep.
That's him.
Okay.
That's him.
That's Steve right there?
That's Steve, yes.
Okay. Well, we can get rid of this thing then. That's not right.
Yeah.
So that's Beverly and Steve there.
Yes.
And
yeah. Now Beverly has the house up there. It's the last house on the driveway. on the last house off of the pavement.
Yeah, I think I think that we'll probably have an address here.
Yeah, please don't tell her what happened.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell anybody anything right now.
Okay.
So not anybody, not even Robert's family.
I don't know how she thinks that this information is not going to get out. Please don't tell anybody that I murdered 2 people on my property and fed them to my pigs. Please don't let people know. That's an insane request.
Right now, we don't think it'd be best to do that right now. So.
I don't really mind. I do. I don't really mind you telling what happened to Robert.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I still do not have any idea how he got there.
Right.
I'm sorry if Chris thinks I'm lying about that, but I'm not.
I want to ask you another time really quick, and please, you're doing the right thing. You've done, and we're going to find him. You know that anyway.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't know if you. But anyway,
well, we
yes.
would because we've got to now. We've got to.
No, I know that you
look
have
through
to.
everything
I know
here,
that
so we're going to find things.
I know that you have to.
You've heard the gig's up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's there's no more time for secrets right now.
I know. I know the thing is up, and
I want you to.
It sounds so impossible that something like this could happen to me twice within a couple of years.
It sounds strange. It does.
Yes.
I've never heard of somebody shooting themselves 5 times in the head. I haven't.
It's just a little bitty. I don't know why it.
Do you remember what brand it is or anything, or
no? It's
where you bought it?
No, it's just a little bitty thing.
Okay.
And
Thank you for the super chat, Steve Cousins from New Zealand. I appreciate you very much.
When I was down in
Did you shoot it again afterwards, or did you?
No.
You haven't shot it since then?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I reloaded it.
So what happened with all the shell
I
casings that were in that? You said it was a revolver. Did you empty them out?
Yeah, I don't know what I did with them. But
where did you reload it at?
Oh, in the room.
Oh, okay, in your room.
Yeah, not 5 minutes later, but within a week or whatever. I don't know. But I bought that down in Los Angeles. On occasion, I put it in my pocket just for self-defense. And like I say, it was just, it was this big. It was just a little bitty thing. And I wasn't really thinking about killing anybody with it. But if I figured if I had taken it and, pointed it at somebody, and I was thinking it was going to do some damage. Mm-hmm. And I certainly thought if you, were half a foot from your head, you'd die right away.
Right.
And it didn't.
So he was holding it away from his head?
He was, I was like this. I was holding him, and and he said, "I'm not going back to jail." He didn't admit to stealing anything.
No, but I mean, the gun was away from his head when it went off.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't directly.
Right, and that's typical of what we'll see in a suicide is a contact. But we can.
No, it was
because a contact wound makes a much different wound than holding it out here.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Well, half a foot, like out here.
It's
going to be different.
Yes,
because of the gases and everything.
It wasn't a contact wound.
Yeah. What about the other 4 shots? Were those contact wounds?
No. Okay. No, I was holding on when he fired all of the rounds. I was holding his arm and trying to.
Do you remember which arm he was holding it in?
I guess it was his right. I don't know.
Okay.
But he was moving around and.
Were you guys standing up?
Yes. Okay. We were both standing up, and I was kind of lucky that. Well, I didn't understand what was happening, and I was kind of lucky, I suppose, that one of the times he shot it didn't hit me because I was 2 feet, foot and a half. I was right there.
Right.
I'm sure she was terrified that while he was shooting himself in the head 6 times, that she would get hit. Like, really? And I just want to mention the complete lack of emotion while she's explaining these things. Zero emotion, zero inflection in her voice, nothing. She's just monotonely telling this detective with a straight face that they got into an argument. He said because he's a thief, his fault, obviously. And then he shot himself in the head 6 times. Not 6 times like with an automatic where his finger held on the weapon either. He shot himself once, then ran out of the room, shot himself again in the hallway, and then ran outside and shot himself some more. It's just the lack of emotion in her voice. I watched all, I think there's 3 videos, and one of them's 4 hours, one of them's like 3.5, and this one's 3 hours and 12 minutes. So she's this flat throughout the whole thing. She's this monotone. You guys remember last week? She's this monotone and straight faced when she's talking about Robert going into the pig pen and getting his guts ripped out by these pigs. Her pigs are eating this man alive, and she decides to shoot him instead of the pigs that are eating him. Straight-faced, monotone, telling the story. Now she's doing the same thing with Stephen, where he shot himself in the head, ran out of the room, shot himself 5 more times, just straight-faced. I can't wait to get to the trial show so I can spoiler alert, she's never getting out of jail. She's never getting out of prison. Thank God for that. This person does not need to be living amongst polite society.
Were you guys facing each other when this happened?
Yes.
So are you holding him and he's facing you and you're trying to get the gun?
I was holding his arm.
Okay.
I was holding his arm. I didn't actually grab his hand and the gun.
Yeah.
I was holding him down in here, and he was going like this.
What was he doing with his other arm?
Trying to get me off.
Okay.
You know, he was pushing at me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I had both of my arms on his, and he was going like this and pulling the trigger and pulling the trigger, and it was.
And the way that you're holding your hand right there almost looks like it would have been up here. Are you just generally holding your hand up, saying, or is this where he shot himself up here?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. You know, like
right
there or in the mouth or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
normally what we would see. You know, people can shoot themselves anywhere, but
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. He might have tried that if I wasn't holding it, but I was holding his arm, and he was basically, you know, we were struggling and moving all around.
What were you saying, or were you saying anything at all?
I was saying, don't. You know, I told him.
I know that this interrogation was filmed on a potato, but I don't know if you can see that she's holding the gun in the back of his head. She is saying that the first shot, he took the gun and put it to the back of his own head and shot himself. That's the first shot. That's what she's showing the detective here. Okay. All right.
You know, I told him, if you did steal them, I'd like to know where they are. I'm not turning you into the police.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he said, I've been in prison, I'm not going back.
Hmm. Is there going to be any other DNA from anybody else?
No.
Or anything else on your property?
No.
Anything at all?
No.
Have you told me everything?
That's everything. The reason I did not bring up Steve to start with was the total insanity of the coincidence.
Yeah.
It's the total insanity of the coincidence. That's why I didn't say anything to start with.
I'm glad that you did the right thing. I hope you are too. I hope that you're glad that you're doing the right thing. Weird coincidence or not, you know, you're filling in the pieces of the puzzle that we're going to find.
Yes.
So, you know, she already told us about this. We already know about this. We were going to find it anyway. it's just better to, you know, this is
Yeah.
what we're going to find.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, you know, hey, is there anything else? Because we're going to find it. We're going to search the whole 20 acres.
Yeah. No, there's nothing else out there but animals that I buried.
Any other human bones that you may have put
No,
in a different
no.
hole somewhere or anything?
No. All of the bones from Steve, well, all of the bones that I know of from Steve are in that hole. A coyote or something could have taken one of his bones and placed it somewhere else, and like I say, my only logical explanation of the leg being somewhere else was before I had gone in there and picked up what I thought was all of his bones. Somebody moved some animal.
Well, they're animals, all of them. I mean, that's what they do.
Right. My only explanation for that one leg being over there in the grass, I imagine the way I saw the grass is that it is over in what I consider my garden area between the pig pen and the pond.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you found it?
I think it was just on the other side of the pond. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I just saw the picture, and I was told that it was there, and they told me not to go over there, so I didn't go over there.
Okay, that's it.
I saw what you did. I saw the picture.
I saw the grass, and the only grass that I have that looks like that is where my garden is.
You would know more than me. I didn't go over there.
I have a great feeling for animals, and there was a hole in the ground about the size of this table and that deep, and it had some water in it. Jackson County says you cannot or have to get a permit or whatever in order to dig a pond unless it's existing. And I considered the size of this and that deep to be a pond, so I enlarged it about 200 times. I took my backhoe and I enlarged it about 200 times.
I won't tell anybody.
And it's right in the corner of my property, and I had a fence that went up to the corner, and I took that down so that the animals could come in and get a drink.
That's nice of you.
And I have all kinds of animals over there all the time.
Sure.
When it's full, occasionally I have had the geese come in and land there, and I would go up and say hi. And about halfway between Queens Branch and my property, the elk come across the road, go on to the guy's property. I can't think of his name either right now. And then they come up, they get a drink from my pond, and my place is clean, and they go on the other side of the fence, and I can hear them going through the brush, because the deer are nice and quiet. The elk, you're seeing,
they just go where they want to go.
They just go where they want to go. So occasionally I hear them, and I've seen them down there getting a drink of water, and I hear them walking across the west fence, on the other side of the west fence. They go from there. They go maybe a mile down the road, and they come back and come back across, and they go through the back end of my property, and then over to the other people's and make this little circle. And for some reason, they have a habit of knocking down my fence in one location. They first couple jump over, and the next time.
She rambles on for a while longer. And let's get to here we go.
The thing over there is crooked, and I can't stand looking at it.
Is that better?
A little.
Better?
More better.
Okay. That's about all I can do.
Yeah. I pick up stuff like that. And
we're just going to do a little bit more of this interview, and then I have some news stories about the trial that I want to share with you guys.
Right. Sometimes little things bother you like that.
I go into a store and I see papers ajar, and I take all the papers and straighten them up and make it all nice and.
I wanted to share this part because I'm the same way. If I go into a place and there's a crooked picture on the wall or stuff that's out of order, like in a store, I will do the same thing and straighten it up for whatever place I'm at. So I thought that was kind of funny because I really, I felt a connection to Susan when she's talking about this stuff.
It's stupid, but things like that bug the hell out of me, and I don't know how much that affected my
working on the polygraph
test either. Because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at that thing all crooked, and I'm thinking to myself.
Yeah.
So now she's blaming her getting. They did 2 polygraph tests. Both of them came out inconclusive because what the polygraph examiner said was that she was messing with her breathing and tensing her muscles and things while she's taking the test. So both tests came back inconclusive, and now she's blaming the crooked picture on the wall for her not passing the polygraph test. Which, honestly, at this point, does she even need a polygraph test? She's already admitted to killing Robert when he was in the pig pen, getting eaten by her pigs, and now the story about Stephen shooting himself in the head 6 times is just crazy. So I don't think that it even matters if she passes or fails a polygraph test or if 2 tests come back inconclusive like they did in this case.
Well, let me tell you, I know there's little things like that bother me too sometimes. The picture could be crooked, and if you don't get up there and fix it, it causes problems, right?
Yes.
So
stuff like that really bugs me.
Yeah. Well, I've heard what you've been telling
Yes.
Detective Henderson, and heard about the bones that Steve's bones that are mixed in that pile and put in the ground there.
Yes.
And you lived there since 1999, is that correct, or before?
No. That's for the record. Your search. I don't know if they do it or not, but your search warrant is invalid because you got the wrong date on there. I bought the place in '91.
Right.
But
I think on the search warrant was just implying that the records that he viewed for the county showed '99. There must have been sometimes when you update or upgrade or put property or building.
I bought the place in '91, and
did you do all that building out there? That's on there.
When I bought the place, there was nothing but trees and scrub brush.
So you did all the excavating there yourself?
I didn't do the excavating myself, no.
Okay. So you don't run that backhoe ever?
Oh, I do. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I
hired somebody to do the excavating and put in the cement and stuff like that.
When I first got up here, I knew where I wanted the house to be generally, and I knew where I placed the.
That's enough of this one. They go on about the property and how she started this whole interview off with nothing you find on my property is going to be valid or be able to be used in court because the search warrant is invalid. And on the search warrant, it had the wrong date of when she purchased the property. So she thinks that the leg that they found and the other body that they found on her property are it's no good. You can't use that in court, even though you found human remains on my property because you put the wrong date of when I bought my property on the search warrant. All right. Here we go. Next news story. This is getting into the search of her property.
Murder suspect Susan Monica's 20-acre property has been the center of focus for deputies for nearly 3 weeks now. Tonight, they say the search for bodies on the property is over. NBC5's Roma Villavicencio joins us live in studio with details. Roma.
Sherry, the Jackson County District Attorney, says she's confident the search at Monica's property was thorough. Residents say they just can't believe this happened in their town. Susan Monica's road.
By the way, I was wrong too. When I first saw this story, I thought for sure there was going to be dozens of bodies strewn about this 20-acre property. So I too was incorrect when I first assessed this case. So don't feel bad that you got it wrong.
Rogue River property has been a murder crime scene for nearly 3 weeks and the talk of the town.
It makes me feel relieved that, it's pretty much over, but, it's kind of creepy. It makes, you're like, what's going on in the community.
After an extensive search, Jackson County Sheriff's deputies say no other bodies have been found on Monica's 20-acre property.
There were buildings to search, her residence to search, outbuildings and all other things, and so that's what took the time.
Police say Monica killed and dismembered Robert Haney's body in September 2013. Monica was initially charged with identity theft for allegedly using Haney's Oregon Trail card. But while investigating that crime, deputies say they found Haney's body and another body of a person they say she killed in August of 2012. That body has not yet been officially identified.
It's a process that'll continue. That may take some time because it'll have to be done through their DNA or dental records.
Just one part of the investigation that Jackson County District Attorney Beth Heckert says is far from over. Rogue River resident Louis Gross says he feels like his neighborhood is safe once again.
I feel safe now that she's in jail, that, things have been taken care of.
Monica also had pigs on her property that she wanted to donate to food pantries. Heckert says they were euthanized, saying it was the best decision. Live in the studio, Roma Villavicencio, NBC5 News. Back to you, Sherry.
All right. So you guys can all rest easy that we did not feed these pigs to homeless people, right? I was worried about it, honestly.
During Susan Monica's bail hearing, gruesome details came out of the woman's alleged killings.
She admits to utilizing a weapon to shoot 2 individuals in the head. We've recovered those individuals.
Jackson County Chief Deputy District Attorney Alan Smith told the court that there's plenty of evidence to convict the Rogue River woman, advising Jackson County Circuit Court Judge Timothy Barnack to deny her a grant of release.
Bail by statute is not allowed in a murder case when the state can provide enough evidence that the court can find the presumption strong that the defendant will be found guilty.
I'm going to set this out for a pretrial in the first week of September.
Oh, God.
Monica gasped when she heard she'd remain in jail. She's facing 2 counts of murder, abuse of a corpse, and ID theft after police served a search warrant to her Rogue River property. Prosecutors allege that Monica shot and killed 56-year-old Robert Haney, a tenant who once lived on the 20-acre property, as well as another unknown person, dismembered their bodies and buried them. In January, Monica pled not guilty to those charges.
My understanding is that law enforcement hasn't provided those yet to the district attorney's office because their investigation may still be ongoing.
Before the bail hearing ended, Susan Monica's attorney, Christine Herbert, requested the judge bar all media outlets from directly contacting Monica. Barnack said he'd consider the motion.
Rather than going to the jail and writing her letters and so forth.
During her time in jail, Monica has been in regular contact with local media outlets, making statements suggesting plans to go public with her side of the story. With no chance of receiving bail, Monica will remain locked up, along with any sort of details about the evidence that police say they have, until she's once again back in court for a pretrial hearing in September.
I need to see you right away.
In Medford, Travis Cook, NBC5 News.
So now we're going to get into the trial part of it. We'll let this play. They're just showing some of her property and the victims and stuff like that. But the difference between the way she looked during that police interrogation and what she looks like at trial is night and day. It's crazy. It's like a crazy transformation.
This is a difficult case to tell, and the details are gruesome.
Absolutely. In a taped confession to police played in court today, Susan Monica admitted to feeding her two men to her pigs at her Rogue River area property.
The shocking details leaving a courtroom hushed, but that was only the beginning of a short but powerful first day in this murder trial, more than a year in the making.
NBC5's Roma Villavicencio is live at Jackson County Circuit Court with more. Roma?
When do you see her a year later?
Craig, Susan Monica says she killed Stephen Delacino in self-defense and killed Robert Haney to put him out of his misery because her pigs were eating him. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg from a taped confession that we heard today in one of the most chilling trials that Jackson County has seen in several years.
They need something to eat. There will always be something to eat. I have to feed them twice a day.
A disturbing start to the Susan Monica murder trial.
That's her. Can you believe that? Do you see the difference? It looks like she lost 100 pounds. Maybe not 100, but you get the idea. They got her makeup, they got her a new wig. She looks great there. She looks like a normal little old lady. And I also want to point out something that I noticed while watching. There's not, like this week, I'm sure a lot of us, myself included, were watching the trial of, that we covered with the suitcase. What? Sorry, my brain doesn't work anymore. What is her name? Susan Monica is in my head, and now I can't think of the other one's name. Susan Smith? No, not a Susan. The suitcase lady. Anyway, at trial, she's wearing what is her name? Somebody help me. Erica, let me know. Why can't I think of that woman's name? Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. It's going to drive me crazy. What is her name? Sarah Boone. That's it. Sarah Boone. Why couldn't I think of Sarah Boone? I kept wanting to say Susan because I have a Susan coming up on my schedule, Susan Smith, and we're talking about a Susan here. But Susan Smith trial, she's wearing all dark colors. She looks guilty. In this trial, if you notice the outfits that they're getting Susan Monica to wear, they're lighter colored. This is a trick that the lawyers play, and I've seen defense attorneys talk about it. They make their female victims look more feminine, and they dress them up for court. She looks like a normal little old lady right here. But if you look back to what she looked like here, this is a monster. If she went to court looking like this is a monster. And yeah, in the Sarah Boone case, I'm noticing that they're giving her all like dark black and dark black, but dark colored clothes, either navy blue or black. They need whoever her defense attorney is not doing a good job dressing her, is what I'm saying. She's got next to no makeup on. She looks guilty.
A disturbing start to the Susan Monica murder trial. The Rogue River area woman admitting to Jackson County detectives she fed Robert Haney and Stephen Delacino to her pigs in this taped confessions presented by prosecutors. Monica's charged with murdering the two handymen who worked at her property in 2012 and 2013.
If it's Robert's slave, I guess the rest of him is there somewhere.
In opening statements, the prosecution pointed out Monica's evolving story and the brutal deaths of the men.
She takes the rifle, she shoots him in the head.
Experts say both Haney and Delacino died from gunshot wounds to the head, but then the details got hard to bear. In more confession video, Monica describes how the pigs ate both Haney and Delacino.
They're licking his head.
Monica claiming she shot Haney in the head to put him out of his misery because the pigs were eating his stomach. She says she shot Delacino in self-defense. He was also fed to her pigs.
They were doing their thing.
Her attorney doesn't deny Monica shot the men.
Now, make no mistake about it, she shot both of these individuals.
But says the state can't prove it was murder in a wild start to a 2-week trial that has only just begun. Detective Henderson with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office says Monica also told him she wanted to feed him to her pigs. He testified today and that, he wanted to kill him and feed him to her pigs. And he said that's something that freaked him out very much. And in other news, we also learned today that Monica will play a role in her trial. She will be able to question witnesses, but not in front of a jury. Now, I will be here every day for the next 2 weeks covering this trial. Stay with us. Live in Medford, Roma Villavicencio, NBC5 News.
Yeah, so they're going to allow her to question witnesses. Remember when I said she represented herself for a little bit? She did a motion to the court to she said that it's her right to be an active participant in her trial. So she wanted to question the witnesses in her own trial, which is just nuts. If you have attorneys, she's got attorneys. They seem to be pretty good attorneys. I don't know how they'd ever win this case. It's not their fault. that they don't win this case. It's an insane case to even go to court. I can't believe she just didn't plead guilty and get a shorter sentence. Same thing that Sarah Boone should have done when she got offered the chance to plead guilty, but she didn't. But I don't think she should be allowed to question witnesses. That's just me, unless she's representing herself the whole way.
Dave, one very interesting thing throughout this trial is Susan Monica's appearance. The Susan Monica we see in court today is very different from the Susan Monica we met back in January of 2014 when she was first arrested. But one similar thing between the suspect then and the suspect now is her reaction when the subject of Robert Haney's death comes up. Wednesday, Susan Monica surprised people in court when she stood up, wanting to get away.
I can't bear to watch what I'm just doing.
On the screen, detectives questioned Monica on January 10th, 2014, the day of her arrest. Back then, Monica donned a different look. Michael Jones says that's the same Monica who walked through the door of Rhoda Paint in Medford when he was employed there.
No, like I wondered if she ever took a bath or anything like that, because she was always that way.
But Jones was caught by surprise when he saw his old customer in court.
So I didn't recognize her at all.
Though Monica's image on the screen is nothing like what it has been during her murder trial, there was one similarity.
I couldn't look at him and take aim or anything. He was laying there, I was standing here, and I went like that. I pulled the trigger.
An outburst when the topic of conversation was the death of Robert Haney. In the video, Monica denies knowing anything at first, then a confession. She says she found Haney half-eaten by her pigs in a pig pen on her property, heard him groan, and saw him move his arm. The suspected murderer tells detectives she knew he wouldn't live more than a few minutes, so she shot him to put him out of his misery.
I don't know for sure, but I'm kind of having my doubts. It seems strange that she wouldn't put out any kind of effort to save the man.
When asked why she didn't call police, Monica spoke of her pig's well-being.
Because I was afraid you were going to go out and shoot my pigs.
Those animals were euthanized during the investigation. Today, the prosecution also got into the death of Stephen Delacino. We're about halfway through a taped recording where Monica says it was an accidental shooting during a struggle over firearms with the victim, during which Delacino was accidentally shot 5 times. Those firearms were presented in court today as evidence, 2 rifles and a small handgun. Covering your news live in Medford, Jessica De Nova, News 10.
Thanks, Jessica. So Colonel Angus in the chat says that you should, let me put this up on screen. Where was it? Let me find it. You should never plead guilty. I disagree, and here's why. The case that I'm talking about, which we're going to circle back to once the trial's over, maybe even next week, we'll see. But with Sarah Boone, she was offered an 8-year sentence, which, by the way, she's already been in jail for 4 years. So if she were to have taken that, it would be 4 years, and then she'd get time off for good behavior. So she could be out in a couple years. She's facing a life sentence in her trial, and she totally did it. She's 100% guilty. She, not only that, this is getting off topic, but it came out in court on Friday. They interviewed 2 of her next door neighbors that heard the suitcase go down the stairs. She put him in the suitcase at the top of the stairs and threw him down the stairs. She should have taken that deal. She absolutely should have taken it. She could have been out in 2 to 4 years. I have a feeling she's going to get the book thrown at her, because she in court, she looks like she's just so put upon and doesn't give a crap about this man's life that she killed. All right. Totally tangent. That's what you get over here. You get tangents about other cases. Let's get back to Susan Monica. I thought it was interesting in that last clip that we watched that she wanted to leave the courtroom when they were playing her interrogation footage. She didn't want to sit there and watch that. None of us did, Susan, but we had to get through it, didn't we? We had to hear it. She doesn't want to see herself throwing herself under the bus.
Certainly not in a murder trial, the accused acting as an attorney and questioning a witness.
That's exactly what happened late this afternoon in the Susan Monica murder trial.
That's right. Again, we want to warn you that some of the details that you're about to hear are graphic. NBC5's Roma Villavicencio joins us live in studio with the very latest from the courtroom. Roma.
Christine, for the first time today, the defense had a chance to cross-examine witnesses, and with a hybrid presentation, Susan Monica herself questioned the lead investigator, all of it making for a very riveting third day in this murder trial.
Susan Monica grilling Jackson County Sheriff's Detective Eric Henderson, the same man she jokingly threatened to kill and feed to her pigs.
What did you do about my pigs?
It certainly wasn't your typical day in Jackson County Court.
Did you instruct anyone?
Monica's charged with killing two men, Robert Haney and Steven Delasino, and feeding them to her pigs at her Rogue River area ranch. The accused serial killer had pushed Judge Timothy Barnack to allow her to cross-examine witnesses, arguing it was her Sixth Amendment right to be an active participant in the trial.
Is there a question that you have for him?
Judge Barnack repeatedly stopped her, saying she wasn't asking appropriate questions or following the rules of the court. He even reprimanded her for disparaging Detective Henderson's character.
I don't want to hear that out of you again.
But it was. Do you have any idea how much I searched for this whole trial? Obviously, there's cameras in the courtroom. I could not find the footage of this anywhere. I could only find clips of it in news segments, which is why we're watching these news segments instead of watching parts of the trial. I would have loved to make this into a 3-parter and watched opening and closing statements with you guys, but I can't find it anywhere. If anybody finds that anywhere, let me know where I can find it and we will go through it together. But I would have loved to see the judge reprimanding her and see what her response was, because as we saw in the Waukesha parade, Darrell Brooks, he would get so angry. You could see that he had an anger problem when he was corrected by the judge. You could see that come through, and I'm wondering if the same thing happened in this case. They're not showing it. They're just telling us about it, so I don't know.
It wasn't just Monica's questions that enthralled the courtroom.
Many of the people out there are relatives of Robert Haney to leave the courtroom for the next couple of minutes.
One day after getting up dramatically and walking out as the interview.
Yes, you heard that correctly. She asked for the court to order the relatives of Robert Haney. Remember, he's got 5 kids. He's got brothers and sisters. He's got a whole family. She asked for them to be removed from the courtroom for part of the testimony, which is ludicrous. It's ludicrous that she would even suggest that they would have to leave. If they couldn't handle it and wanted to leave, that's one thing. If they were causing a commotion with, outbursts, that's another thing. But for her to say, "Oh, this is going to be too hard for them to hear, so they should leave. Can you make them leave?" It's not up to you. You're the one that fed their father and brother and son to your pigs. So yeah, you're going to have to look at their faces when they hear about it.
With detectives was played, she got up again Thursday and asked the judge to have Haney's family removed from the courtroom.
I do not want them to hear what he has just said, what he is about to say.
In the video, she blamed her sick sense of humor for the murders of Haney and Delasino.
I see my stupid sense of humor becoming reality.
Thoughts she says she had in her head for 10 years before it became reality.
Court documents show that jurors would not be in the courtroom when Monica cross-examines witnesses, but today they were. Stay with NBC5 News as we will continue to bring you the latest on this trial. Live in the studio, Roma Villavicencio, NBC5 News.
Thank you, Roma. I appreciate that report. Thank you very much. So, if you're enjoying the show, we're almost done, by the way, for today. But if you're enjoying the show, and you would like to purchase some merchandise, you can go to ktzed.com. That's KTZED.com and purchase all of your merchandise there. We have lots of stuff at ktzed.com. It's not just this awesome Crime Land shirt or this Overruled coffee mug. No. You can get all sorts of cool stuff at katiesaid.com. All of your favorite creators featured this week or this month is K-Far's merchandise. You can look at all of that here. He's got long sleeve, he's got short sleeve. There's different types of coffee mugs. It's good stuff. I could probably design some more stuff for him. You can also get Ignormus Juniors, the Christ is King collection. K-Furs is obviously there. Sunset Saints. You can get the 2023 Patriot Jam selection, which will be going away as soon as this is the 2024 Patriot Jam collection. Once we design the 2025 Patriot Jam collection, all of this will be replaced. So if you're into this, definitely get it now. It's going to go away pretty soon. So. And of course, what you're here for is the Overruled stuff. My favorite thing here is this notebook. It says not my How to Get Away with Crime notebook. It's a very nice notebook. It is thick, it's hard, and that sounded not like I wanted it to sound. The pages are thick is what I'm saying. It's a very nice notebook. They're perforated, so once you write down not sure how to get away with crime, you can tear those out and burn them. Of course, Xena has her own collection of stuff too. Look at her over there looking just like the picture. Look at that. Just taking a little nap, It's True Crime with Xena featuring Katie Zed. We all know you're here to see her and not me. Anyway, you can get that stuff over there. I appreciate it. Xena appreciates it. Oh, there she is. She just woke up. And you can always either super chat or rumble rant, and we appreciate that too.
One day after Susan Monica was found guilty of murder, her attorney is speaking to NBC5 News and says he is not shocked that his client was convicted of double murder.
Yeah, I'm not shocked either. So yes, she was. I missed one of the tabs, but it basically just said that the jury went out for a little over an hour. It only took them an hour to find her guilty on all of the counts she was charged with. That's what the one that I missed said.
Will now spend the rest of her life in prison for killing 2 men on her Rogue River property. Tonight, NBC5's Roma Villavicencio spoke to Monica's attorney. She joins us live in studio with more. Roma.
Craig Medford attorney Garen Pedamonte says he knew what he was getting into when he became Monica's attorney.
By the way, this is after the trial, and this Channel 5 up in that area decided to use this photo of her on their screen, which I think is hilarious. Personally, this is her mugshot without her wig on or anything like that. They have pictures of her from the court where she looked way better than this, but they decided to go with this photo. Chef's kiss to that choice. Whoever was in the media room when they made those decisions, good job.
He says it was his job to make the best case he could for her, even when she started getting involved.
Susan Monica looked ready for court during her double murder trial, and she was.
Your Honor, you saw me 1 moment.
All throughout her 6-day trial, Monica appeared dramatically different than the mugshot many remember.
The priority for the court and for the attorneys that they not appear in their jail outfit to avoid any prejudice to the person.
Garen Pedamonte defended Monica in the murder trial. He says he knew representing Monica would be complex, especially since Judge Timothy Barnack allowed her to cross-examine the lead detective, Eric Henderson.
What did you do about my case?
And I think in her eyes she learned that she was not going to be as effective at it as her attorneys would be.
Pedamonte says he was not surprised when jurors took merely an hour to find Monica guilty Tuesday of murdering Robert Haney and Stephen Delacino and feeding them to her pigs.
Count 2 is a different victim, so it'll be life.
She made multiple inconsistent statements before we were even involved in the case. And so she had told 3 to 4 to 5 different stories about what happened, and it's very difficult to convince a jury that this person is telling the truth when their story has changed.
Despite the inconsistencies, Pedamonte says Monica, like everyone else, still deserved a fair trial, even one with twists and turns unexpected.
I'm going to have to lodge you this time.
I was holding.
Pedamonte says in the end it was about representing a murder suspect.
I knew what I was getting myself into, and certainly it's a big case. I had not tried a murder before. I wanted to try a murder. And the rest of it really is not any different than any other case.
Pedamonte says wigs, earring, dresses, and makeup for Monica were all paid for by the state by a separate organization in Salem and not the district attorney's office. Live in the studio, Roma Villa.
So that's interesting. The state, or the taxpayers didn't have to pay for her earrings and stuff. I want to thank News Now Enemy for the 5 gifted memberships. Don't forget, if you received one of those memberships, you are invited to game night next month, which is on it's October now. I think it's the 2nd of November is when we have it scheduled. That's subject to change, but we'll see. Right now, I have it on my dry erase board for the 2nd of November. And Xena gets treats. That's very exciting, isn't it, Xena? Xena's very excited. Here you go. Ava's not here, so we'll give Xena 2. There you go. Can you do a shake? Do a shake. Thank you. She's such a good girl. I don't know what I'm ever going to do if she ever leaves me. Be very sad. All right, one more little clip because they let the victim's family speak before sentencing, and I always like to hear from them. This is one of the people that she asked to be removed from the courtroom, which is just crazy to me that she would even think that that would be a good idea.
Please give my family justice. Don't ever let her out. Please.
Powerful words from murder victim Robert Haney's sister Teresa, words Judge Timothy Barnack held on to while making his sentencing decision Tuesday evening.
You are a cold-blooded killer.
And it was an unforgiving sentence.
On count 1, life. Count 2 is a different victim, so you'll be life.
Life in prison for Susan Monica with the minimum of 50 years before she can get parole for killing Stephen Delasino in 2012 and Robert Haney in 2013 on her Rogue River ranch.
Anybody that can shoot somebody in the back of the head, feed them their pigs, and not think twice about it, not show any emotion, when the detectives show up to joke about it, joke about feeding animals to your pigs, or feeding people to your pigs, that's cold.
After 6 days of graphic and gruesome testimony, jurors made their decision in a little over an hour.
Guilty.
Prosecutors say the evidence presented and Monica herself had a major impact in the case.
It was so strong because she was our most effective witness. She gave us hours and hours and hours of interviews.
Monica all along claimed she was not guilty of murder. Rather, she claimed it was self-defense in Delasino's case and wanted to put Haney out of his misery. Jurors didn't buy it, neither did Haney's family.
My brother has 2 granddaughters in the hospital right now that will never know him.
In Medford, Roma Villavicencio, NBC5 News.
Well, if that doesn't just break your heart, hearing his sister saying that he's going to have grandchildren that never know him. That's true for both of these gentlemen, by the way. We didn't hear very much from Steve's family. I think he may have not been in contact with his family, but Robert's family was definitely close and tight-knit. He had just decided to live a life where he was kind of on the road and flying by the seat of his pants and living on Susan Monica's property, which breaks my heart that he even got into that situation to start with. So that's the Susan Monica case. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. And let me know in the comments down below after we're done, too. I wanted to cover this case because there's not a lot of female killers, but when there are, it just seems like they're super gruesome. We know about Aileen Wuornos and what's the lady's name? The grandma killer who buried. We haven't covered that one on my channel. We should. There was a woman in California who basically, it was kind of a similar situation where she was having transient men come live at her house and then poisoning them and burying them in her yard. I'm going to put that one on my dry erase board for the to start researching. Maybe we'll cover that one. Anyway, that's the Susan Monica case. Why is everybody saying don't have game night on the 2nd? Like that, like 3 or 4 people says don't have game night on the 2nd. What if we do it on the 1st? I think the 1st is a Friday. All right, let me look at my calendar. Why not on the 2nd? All right, we'll see. I like to do it on the weekends because I like to have a little bit to drink, and I don't drink that often. But we'll see. Everybody who's here in the chat right now who wants to come to game night, put a comment on my channel. I read all of the comments. Put a comment on my channel of what day you suggest, what day in the first week of November that you suggest, if not the 2nd. Let me know. Anyway, I got distracted. So coming up this week on Wednesday night is another episode of Booze and Body Cam. Look forward to that. I got some good videos for Kfar this time. I got some good ones. So, and I'm sure he's got good ones for me too. So it'll be Booze and Body Cam Wednesday night at 8:00. I've been talking to Frank today about maybe doing a guest spot on his channel sometime next week, but we haven't set in stone when it is. When that happens, I will do a community post with a link to it so you guys can check it out. It will be not on both of our channels, only on his channel, mainly because he talks about politics and I don't really get into politics on my channel. And he's got the Let's Be Frank channel is obviously a politics channel. If you guys, I'm sure a lot of you are subscribed to him too. And then next week, next Sunday at 4:30 Eastern, I have so many stories in Crimeland that I've been saving for 2 weeks because I haven't done a Crimeland episode. So we're going to do a Crimeland episode next Sunday at 4:30 Eastern. I want to thank every single one of you for coming today. I hope you enjoyed the Susan Monica story. And let me know if there's any other true crime stories that you want me to cover. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, if not before. Bye, guys.